Hey guys, welcome back to T-Dubs. This is Things We Watch, our show on the Honeycomb YouTube channel where we talk about the things that we watch. It's that simple. So T-Dubs is TWW, Things We Watched. I had to explain that to Tony this week. And on that note, please welcome from flickgeeks.com, Tony Tuazon.
Hello.
And over here on my right is, back from our first episode about Arcane, Paolo Narciso.
Hello.
And actually, the three of us are your executive producers for Pop Expo. It's one of the few times we've actually all been back in the same room for a long time. This week, we actually celebrated 2 years since our last Pop Expo. We had it in, what was that?
Eastwood.
It was in Eastwood.
If we had it this year, it would have been the 5th year of Pop Expo. So
Yeah, so we've managed to do 3 years of Pop Expo. And then we didn't do 2020 because the event was towards the end of 2029, right? 2019.
2019, yes.
Yeah, not 2029. Towards the end of 2019. And
we got pandemic.
We tried to push it, alam ko eh. Parang ganun.
yeah, like it would have been nice to do something online, but kind of the point of Pop Expo is to be in person. Yeah, so hopefully it's something we can work on. But we want to get back together and talk about the things that we watched. And I actually wanted to kick stuff off a little bit different today and talk about trailers. Because, so we're going to talk about Arcane later. But I wanted to jump into trailers because we've all been watching trailers this week. Let's start with Spider-Man. What are your thoughts on the new Spider-Man? Wow.
We can start with Tony.
Let's start with Tony. Okay, go.
For
Pao.
me, I haven't really seen any trailers. I made it a habit.
You didn't watch it?
No, just Spider-Man lang. Pero para I made it a habit that I won't watch any trailers anymore. Parang ganun. But I really liked Spider-Man.
What's that about? Trying to go in pure, unadulterated?
No, because it's because of the
Hype is the mind killer.
Kasi yung algorithm eh. Para once I see a trailer, and then every time I look at my Facebook, YouTube, parang every day there's some content that's shown to me. So parang I want to leave that.
You want to have some control over what you're feeding yourself.
Oh.
So you didn't watch the Moon Knight trailer?
No.
I haven't seen the Moon Knight trailer either.
You haven't seen the Moon Knight?
No.
But you did watch Spider-Man.
I saw one of the Spider-Man trailers. I don't think I've been keeping myself up to date. I think like Tony, not for the same reasons as Tony, but I haven't really been seeking out trailers so that I don't get too hyped up over movies. And especially in the slate of Marvel movies, I feel like the ones I'm really excited for, I don't want to see the trailers for. I want to see Wanda. I want to see Wanda and Doctor Strange. I want to see Thor Ragnarok. And I feel like I don't... sorry, not Ragnarok. Thor Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder.
And I feel like the less I know about that, the better.
Like you're managing disappointment, that kind of thing? Or...
I guess I want to be surprised a little bit. And...
then what's a trailer that ruined the movie for you that you weren't surprised?
Well... it's not that the trailer will ruin stuff for me, but coming into a movie blind, it's funny saying that because I read reviews, but coming into a movie blind, which affects how I watch things.
Well, here we are making a review, right?
So, but I don't know if I've ever gotten ruined by a movie experience for me was ruined by the trailer, but I don't like putting myself in the hype cycle for movies because the more excited I get about things, there's no chance that whatever I'm going to watch is going to live up to my expectations. And if it's already going to be something I'm going to watch anyway, it's like, do I really need to see the trailer to get all hyped up about the stuff that's in it? I'll just watch it.
Well, here's the funny thing on the note of Moon Knight is that I knew Moon Knight was coming because one of the guys who used to work for Honeycomb, Oliver, he lives now in Canada. He and I were always big geeks about Moon Knight. And when they said that they were going to do the show with Oscar Isaacs, which is...
Oscar Isaac. He's getting so many roles now. Congrats to him.
Yeah, and it's a different role. For one, he's not a pilot.
Well, yeah. You have him in A Marriage Story, right? He's an academic.
Not A Marriage Story. You're thinking of another show. You're thinking about.
Sorry, not Adam Driver.
No, Adam Driver is in Marriage
Marriage
Story,
Story.
and
Scenes
Oscar
from a
Isaac
Marriage?
Scenes from a
Scenes from a
Marriage.
Marriage, right,
Yeah.
right.
So yeah. So I guess what we're waiting for is the Daisy Ridley story about a troubled marriage, so we can get the. Right, so we can get the trifecta,
John Boyega.
the John Boyega story of a troubled marriage, so that we can get all of the Star Wars. What do you call it? What they call the new trilogy?
I don't.
Sequel trilogy.
Sequel
Yeah.
trilogy. Well, if you think about it, it sort of follows the pattern of the original trilogy, where Carrie Fisher just sort of had bit roles, Harrison Ford blew up, and Mark Hamill became very niche. John Boyega is going to be might find a niche. Daisy Ridley is going to maybe will fade out, and then
You really
you
think
have
so? You don't-
Oscar,
you don't
and
think
you have
Daisy
Oscar
is a-
Isaac's blowing up.
That's true, because Oscar Isaacs is basically the Harrison Ford. Is
He's
what
the
you're s-
Harrison Ford, yeah,
he
yeah,
is.
yeah.
He is. He's the pilot. He's the scoundrel.
He's the pilot. He's the scoundrel.
He's not really a scoundrel, though.
He goes and does the other stuff.
Yeah.
But with John Boyega, I don't think. Does he have any recent movies?
Does he have any voice acting
Yeah.
credits yet?
I'm not sure. From
No,
what I
I
remember,
don't-
Pacific Rim. But after that, I haven't heard of him. Parang ganun.
The sequel of Pacific
Yeah,
Rim.
Pacific Rim too.
Yeah, I didn't even watch that one.
Yeah, I didn't watch it too.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
would-
I might have seen the trailer. So
And then even if you look at the Star Wars prequels, you have Natalie Portman, Ewan McGregor, and Hayden Christensen. Hayden Christensen fades out. Natalie Portman goes and does art. And Ewan McGregor is just...
he's Ewan McGregor. Like, Ewan McGregor was always going to have a career
Yeah.
before and after Star Wars. Like, he didn't need Star Wars to make him or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, so Moon Knight, the thing that really excited me. So I was talking about it with Oliver. He and I got super excited about it. And then I completely forgot that they were doing it until the trailer came out. And I was like, oh my God. Like, finally we're seeing it like fleshed out. It's already being shot. And that's got me really excited because Moon Knight is, for those who don't know Moon Knight, I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the comics, but he's basically like somewhat supernatural Batman in Marvel.
I'm moderately familiar with Moon Knight, yeah.
Yeah. Which, did you read any of the arcs?
I'll say if I did, it was when I was a kid. So I'm not super familiar. Like, I never really fully understood the gravity of it. But Moon Knight was the one who sort of disappeared them into a different dimension to confront their sins, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's like possessed by like a Egyptian god, right? That's kind of the
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really know the detail.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm super excited to see it because it's a completely different what do you call this, treatment, right? Because we've had the Doctor Strange stuff, and even that is still like bright, sparkly magic. But Moon Knight, it feels very Indiana Jones, right? Kind of somewhere between Indiana Jones and Batman. So I'm super excited for that. That was a good trailer to watch.
Oh, I've seen the Batman trailer. But
I have not seen the Batman trailer. What do you think of the Batman trailer?
It was too dark. I couldn't see it clearly. But I'm gonna wait for another trailer, I guess. I think the first one is okay. It was great. The first teaser.
So you do want Batman trailers fed to you by the algorithm?
No, I wanted to watch the trailer because I was excited to see Robert Pattinson. Just because of Robert Pattinson.
All right, so I'm gonna say if PR companies out there, if you want Tony Tuazon to watch a trailer, you have to send it his email because he's not gonna watch it through YouTube or through
But we
through
share
Facebook.
that, but pero hindi ko siya pinapanood. Parang ganun.
What? How can you have an opinion on something
sometimes
you haven't
pala.
seen?
So sometimes I usually watch the first trailer and then the next ones hindi na. But I think I would applaud yung what Marvel does because they hide a lot of stuff na when it comes to their trailers.
Yeah, and sometimes they like film fake stuff to put in the trailer,
Yes,
like with it wasn't Endgame. It was do you think Spider-Man they're doing it? You think they're doing it to Spider-Man?
Yes.
I feel like what Marvel does this. I don't necessarily. I think the fake out is there to help present the story and not necessarily to mislead people. But it's like there's a snippet of dialogue that doesn't necessarily show in the film, but is crucial towards what the film is all about. But it doesn't get talked about in the dialogue they show, which is fine. It's just fine.
But do you think? Here's a question: are they doing the Infinity War thing, where there's pictures of like Hulk as Hulk running through a battle? They went through all the trouble of making a CG Hulk, and then you see the movie and Hulk's not there, right?
Well, he was in the Hulkbuster, right? I don't know if it's on purpose or if it's.
I think it's on purpose.
You think it's on purpose?
I think there's a little bit of the way they mislead some viewers when it comes to trailers. Just to throw them off. Because when it comes to Marvel movies, right now, there's a lot of theories.
Yeah.
There's a lot of leakers and everything. Diba? So it helps you like prepare yourself to be more surprised by them when it comes to watching.
And it's kind of strange how the pandemic response here locally in the Philippines has kind of screwed up that release window thing where the Philippines, we were always ahead of everyone. Like,
True.
you're right, we used to be able to watch blockbusters before the rest of the world by at least one day, right? And like with the pandemic, like we're actually seeing that happening in reverse because we're pretty sure we're not going to be able to see Spider-Man this year. Yeah.
Well, I was in the cinema yesterday for the first time in a long time, and they Marvel had like a trailer for Phase 4, and I think it was specifically for the Philippines, saying when we're going to get the films. So for sure, Spider-Man is slated for January 2022.
And I guess we just got to live with that one.
Well, consider that technically we're getting like a Marvel movie in the cinemas every month. So are you really complaining?
That's
I
true.
mean,
That's true. I'm not.
You can watch Black Widow.
Yes, I am.
You can watch
No,
Shang-Chi.
I
You
thought
can
about
watch Eternals. You can watch Spider-Man. For considering, okay, yeah, the pandemic response has like messed up how we're going to be able to experience these things, but that's alongside the rest of the world. And there are more people to cry over than Disney and Marvel. Huh?
That's true. That's very true. But I will say I'll watch Eternals on Disney Plus, but I don't think I'll watch it
In the cinema.
like
I want to see Eternals in the cinema.
really. Why?
Because I want to see the scale of it, and I want to see it in the big screen.
Marvel's first sex scene.
I want to see Paperboy from Atlanta as one of the
Fair enough.
as an Eternal.
All right. So for all of the upcoming Phase 4 films, right? Because we basically have 3 coming out in the next 3 weeks here in Manila, right?
Effective.
Or over the next 3 weeks, and then we got Spider-Man coming out. Which one do you care about?
One every month.
Definitely Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, give me the rest on streaming, and I'll watch Spider-Man in the theater.
What?
Just give it to me. Just give me one day. I just want it December 24, 23. Launch it 1-2 days early, right? What is 24 this year? It's like on a Tuesday or something, right? So
One thing I want to say about that. So I saw the trailer for all of the Marvel movies coming out in cinemas in the next few months. But what really got me is at the end when they were showing like Marvel, and then in the background you could see a faint outline of a 4, and it really looks like they're hinting towards Fantastic Four, but it's just Phase 4. Although I don't know what they're mixing into that.
They're clearly going for Fantastic Four.
But for what Marvel is doing, the stuff that I'm really excited for are the ones that are a little bit further in the future. I am really, as I said earlier, I'm really excited to see Doctor Strange and Wanda in the Multiverse of Madness, because that sounds bonkers. And ever since WandaVision, it's always WandaVision. I was already really interested to see because I know those stories from the comics, and Multiverse of Madness sounds bonkers. Love and Thunder, they're doing, and then they announced this week, I think, that they're doing X-Men cartoons.
Oh yeah.
X-Men 97, they're bringing
They're
that
bringing
back.
the original, like the 1997. We all watched it as kids.
Yeah, I presume we all watched it. Yeah, and my brother and I were talking that we never could follow the arcs back then because TV was a little bit more unpredictable. We couldn't just binge it on streaming.
Yeah, and you had to wait for at least here or like in Asia, you
Yeah.
had to wait for TV shows to get to a certain quantity before it got to syndication.
Yeah.
So they never made a second season. We'd never see it.
Yeah, so apparently there were 4 seasons of that, and I watched them like broken up. But I always remembered the cartoons to be good then, and I really want to see what they're going to do now. If they're going to bring in the new status quo of Marvel's mutants into the cartoons, because you have the whole, for people who are following the comic books of X-Men, you have the Nation of Krakoa, which is the new mutant status quo where all the mutants are united under one country, heroes and villains alike.
Who's currently on X-Men now? Who's writing it?
Hindi ba si Hickman?
I think it's
Or-
Hickman doing the mainline books.
Okay.
But you have the whole X family is ongoing. You have Excalibur. You have even
X-Force.
I
And
think you have X-Force. You have Marauders, who is Kate Pride as the leader.
wait. They changed her name?
She decided to stop being called Kitty and instead be called Kate. Because
Did they explain why?
she's an adult now.
So Agent Comics is a thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, kasi si Iron Fist, pinalitan na nila right? Parang
Ay,
ginawa nila ng
funny.
it used to be Danny Rand. Tapos I think ngayon ginawa na nilang Asian si Iron Fist mismo, parang gano'n. And speaking of X-Men,
maybe a good move.
what did you say kanina? Parang ginagawa na nila ng bagong nation, right?
So the current status quo in the comics is that all the mutants are one nation, and they're claiming like global sovereignty as a nation of mutants.
So, naalala ko lang, like, the last time it happened, they did it to reboot X-Men.
Are we talking about Madripoor?
Yung House of X?
House
yeah,
of
so
no
baka
more
mamaya
no more mutants.
Baka mamaya i-wipe out nila sa comics para...
Well, and see, that's the.
Pero
it
I think
excites me
that's a
that
fresh
because,
take eh.
Yeah, but we sort of saw House of X
Kaya nga.
with WandaVision. I mean,
Oo
the fact that in the main line in the live action TV show of Wanda and Vision, which I wouldn't have expected to ever happen, they tackle the House of X style Wanda universe manipulation. That's so bonkers. So I think because we saw WandaVision, we might see the Nation of Krakoa in the cartoons. It's dope.
Oo nga, no?
It's dope.
Set up. Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing that I think that Marvel's been able to do very successfully over those 3 phases, and going into phase 4 and seeing what they're doing with TV is that they've managed to like educate an entire generation on kind of to catch up with the way that we treat comic books, right? Where we as nerds, as geeks, we've always been able to understand the concept of something like a multiverse, right? But like people get really confused by the idea that X-Men is in Fox and throughout the years, right? And now you can feed them an idea like Loki, right? That never would have worked 10 years ago.
I think though, I'll say kudos to Marvel and the leadership that Marvel Studios is currently under, that they've come to realize that they've started capitalizing on what makes those comics popular. It's not just that they're superheroes, but it's the stories behind it, and that they can, especially with the internet now being something mainstream, and everything niche can now be a global brand. that they can run with the crazy stories and people are going to enjoy them.
Well,
they don't have to stick to a quote traditional superhero narrative because the crazy concepts people like and people can enjoy.
And I think that the most audacious version of that, just to wrap up our discussion of non-League of Legends discussion, is Superman and Lois. I don't know if you guys have been watching this thing, but it's not like any other like CW, DC TV show, and it's also not like any other Superman that I mean, maybe like some Supermans that we've read before, but definitely not something we've seen on TV.
Superman and Lois is they already have kids, right?
Yeah, so it's Superman and Lois going back to Smallville and like figuring out their family dynamic. And the kids were grown up in the city, now have to deal with being farm boys, right?
Right.
So they're kind of dealing with that, and then like one is a jock and one is a kind of socially awkward kid. And then mild spoiler for Superman and Lois right now. The socially awkward one basically becomes super, like he starts developing powers, right? And the jock one, who's like the quarterback and the cool kid in Metropolis, is now like the underdog out in. So they're trying to figure out that dynamic altogether. And then what else? So they're trying to figure out that dynamic altogether. And then this is the only point that the boys find out, the two sons find out that their dad's actually Superman.
Oh.
And yeah, so they have
That
not.
would be a difficult thing to hide, but okay.
Well, he's hidden it from a lot of people for a long time, but somehow he managed to hide it.
Sure.
And it turns out that he's been an absentee father,
Yeah.
like somewhat absentee father this whole time.
that makes sense.
Yeah, so they're dealing with that idea that like Superman, in order to be there for everyone else, has to kind of not be there for his sons. And it's so unusual for an idea of what Superman is and all the other treatments we've given Superman throughout the decades in media. And
So it's like Marvel treatment na ginagawang street level.
yeah, well, farm level. Yeah, dirt road level.
I was going to compare it to Invincible, actually. Because in Invincible, yeah, your dad's not going to make it home for dinner. Do you know when he's going to be back? He's probably trapped in an alien dimension again. Okay. 5 months later, I'm back. And he's so super grizzled.
So coming off that discussion of Invincible, this is actually something I forgot to bring up the first time we talked about Arcane. Was that I was so disappointed. Like the story in Invincible is really good. It's very much based on that Hickman,
Robert Kirkman?
Kirkman, not Hickman. Robert Kirkman comic book, because I remember reading that. That was I think it was quite a groundbreaking comic book.
Did you finish the run?
I did, but it was a long time ago. So
You finished it all the way until the end.
how many issues was it?
I can't tell you. I don't know. But there is an end to
10
that
volumes.
story. Like, it completes.
Okay. I actually don't remember. I don't remember, but I definitely read like the first 2 or 3 arcs, and the show is basically like, I think the first episode is like the entire first arc.
Sure.
Like they really extend it out. And while I really enjoyed the show itself and like the story and where it goes with the themes, the writing is really good. The animation is just garbage, in my opinion.
In your opinion.
In my opinion, I just thought, and comparing it to something like Arcane, where the animation is just through the roof incredible,
Wow.
right?
Not everybody has considering the fact that
Like a
Arcane
6-year production.
has the production has production capabilities not just of Netflix but of Riot Games. It's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and I think Riot really wanted to come out and have a really good first showing. I think that was really important for them to do.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I can imagine so, considering their creative director is part of that process. It's really I can imagine how it's really a baby to that company, because was I came to realize after watching Arcane these last few weeks and being on Steam and whatnot, I've been seeing all these trailers or previews of different League of Legends related games, stuff that's not in the mainline MOBA LOL. That's
Oh,
not the
like
main-
Ralph was saying, oh, I don't play League of Legends, but I play this other thing, and it's basically inside League of Legends.
Yeah. I mean, it's not Legends of Runeterra. It's not League of Legends MOBA. It's not Valorant. It's games within the League of Legends universe, like,
But don't
using the characters, using the aesthetic. So I realized that Riot has a lot of like media going for it in the game space. I guess more stories they're trying to tell, and once you bring it into full animated narrative, that there's going to be. It's good that they're giving that much effort into it.